He buried many of his children, faced pestilence, floods and wars. He was betrayed by those closest to him, surrounded by corrupt, inept and infinitely ambitious people. Although some criticize Marcus Aurelius for being depressing or negative, there is no doubt that he was in pain, tired, and frustrated. He was just a man like any of us who, at some point, felt exhausted by life. However, despite living stoicism and being considered the greatest of all time, Marco did not choose the easiest path. He didn't blame anyone, he didn't hold a grudge for the hand he was dealt or for the painful cards he had to play. He continued to seek relief from physical activity and work. He tried, as we discussed in previous videos, to focus on the beauty in the midst of the ugliness of life. He was brave enough to ask for help when he needed it most. Marcus Aurelius not only continued to get up every morning, but he made an effort to do so early. He recalled in the pages of his meditations the reasons why he was here on this planet, what his nature demanded of him, what his duty was. He moved on, found relief, purpose and even joy in it. No matter who you are or what you are going through, the same is available to you within your soul. It's okay if you're tired. It's understandable and completely acceptable. As you reveal your pain, it is more likely that some people will want to harm you. Although it doesn't always happen, it is common for some people to find pleasure in seeing you suffer or even contribute to it happening or getting worse. This behavior of sadism and envy is, unfortunately, present in many and can hinder their personal progress in different areas of life, whether at work, in friendship circles or even in the family. Therefore, learning not to show your weak point can end up becoming your strong point. Imagine yourself as a tree in the middle of a storm. The leaves may rustle and the branches may sway, but the trunk remains solid, deeply rooted in the earth. This is the portrait of stoicism that we will teach here. We will talk about how you can be even stronger by demonstrating that you are not easily affected by external or internal problems. Each challenge teaches you to be like the tree, acting as if nothing affects you. You are not denying the storm, but choosing not to let the rain soak you and the wind knock you down. You will learn to be the master of your own destiny, firm, strong and serene in a sea of chaos. In this video, we will talk about the 19 Stoic principles of a great and renowned philosopher, which you have probably already heard about. Furthermore, I invite you to discover yourself, where the strength does not come from the crash of thunder, but from the silence of the light that illuminates the path. So for the next few minutes, focus on the content and not your daily distractions. Principle 1. Anticipate neither pleasure nor pain. Epicurus advises us not to anticipate either pleasure or pain, as this will allow us to live with greater wisdom. When we anticipate pleasure, we create desires that can lead to disappointment. On the other hand, anticipating pain can generate unnecessary fear and anxiety. Live in the present moment and face each experience as it comes. 2. Always expect the worst. One of the biggest causes of anxiety and its devastating consequences is believing that unfavorable circumstances await us in the future. We fear that our children will drop out of school, that we will be fired from work, that our partner will confess to infidelity and ask for a divorce, or that something bad will happen to us, such as bankruptcy. The problem is that one day we fear one problem, and the next day, another and another. Life, in addition to offering us good and happy moments, also provides us with a series of inevitable problems. We live in permanent stress, caused by different stimuli every day. This is where Epicurus comes in, as his proposal is as drastic as it is effective. He says, think that all these things you fear so much have already happened. So what could be worse? This way, the spirit will develop strategies to move forward with its head held high. 3. Listen twice as much as you say. Don't fall in love with your own voice. Have you ever wondered why nature gave us 2 ears but only 1 mouth? According to Epicurus, there is no error or coincidence in this, but a clear purpose, not to fall in love with our voice as much as we are called to fall in love with the voices of others. We learn from others to advance in life, not endlessly repeating our own speech. So from today, pay more attention to what the people around you say and less to what you have been holding on to until now. 4. Prepare to fail. Don't do the impossible to avoid being considered a fool, because it's the only way to progress. We do the impossible to avoid being considered fools, but Epicurus has another view on this. According to his philosophy, one of the best things that can happen is that people consider you that way, as this is the way to truly improve, both professionally and personally. The Stoic philosopher reminds us that overcoming is not the product of a spontaneous reaction, but the result of a long path of trial and error. It is through error that we can improve what separates us from excellence. 5. Be aware of the dangers of fortune. The wealth we desire brings with it a stigma that few people can free themselves from, and it's not just about the people who will appear out of nowhere to benefit from our fortune, pretending to be friends they don't feel. For us, money has the ability to transform people, and not necessarily for the good. Once we become possessors of this highly coveted resource, we discover something that until then we didn't know we had, and it is from this that our spirit can begin to poison themselves in the face of the loss of moral values. 6. Death. Remember that death is the final destination of all our actions. Whenever death waits at the end of the path. This is not advice that calls us to pessimism, but to be aware that death is the final destination of all our actions, and especially our efforts. Once we keep this in mind, perhaps we will begin to evaluate to what extent it is worth spending 20 years of our limited life saving to pay for a house that, no matter how heavy it is, we will not be able to take with us wherever we go. Once death visits us, just as we carry objects in our purse that we consider indispensable for our daily life, such as our phone, credit cards, and our toothbrush, it would benefit us to carry a small notebook with these principles. Thanks to them, we will stop seeing setbacks as misfortunes and life as the internal time we have at our disposal. We will acquire a more realistic view of our existence and will certainly make better use of our lifetime. 7. Hope. Hold on to a single hope. Fortunately, we are beings inclined to practice diversity, meaning there is no reason to pin all our hopes on a single dream, as this could be devastating if we fail at it. Therefore, Epicurus encourages us to pursue many dreams as this will exponentially increase our chances of success. 8. True wealth. Wealth resides in a contented spirit, according to the stoicism of Epicurus, who had his own conception of happiness. We know her through one of her famous phrases, "A wise man is one who does not worry about what he does not have, but rejoices in what he has." This reflection goes beyond a simple thought. It is advice to learn to stop feeling distressed by those riches that are not yet part of our lives. Because while we allow ourselves to complain and regret what we lack, we lose valuable minutes of happiness in which we could be grateful for everything we have achieved so far, which is much more than our eyes are trained to appreciate. Thus, a rich person is, above all, a happy person. 9. Guilt. Guilt is synonymous with plague. Petty people blame others, common people blame themselves, but the wise see all blame as foolishness. Thanks to this phrase from Epicurus, therapists today have begun to approach guilt as a feeling that must be eradicated from our lives. The only way to win the competition against guilt is to refuse to play with it. The problem is that it results in an easy path, as blaming others or that we ourselves absolve ourselves of the responsibility to right the wrong. Therefore, resorting to it is a temptation that is difficult to avoid. Only those people driven by a firm determination to overcome it are able to avoid blame and still take responsibility for their actions. 10. Humility. Incorporate humility into your life if you really want to learn something. It is essential for a person to learn what they think they already know. With this phrase, Epicurus urges us to make use of our humility, especially in the field of learning. Going through life assuming pride in knowledge takes us further and further away from the authentic knowledge that arises from the conviction that we are completely ignorant about what we intend to learn. In this way, we will see everything through the eyes of a child, which harbors both the ability as much wonder as the desire to learn. 11. Make alliances. Make alliances, ally yourself with successful people. It's curious, when someone sneezes next to us, we immediately move away, overcome by the fear of being contaminated. However, we are not so cautious to avoid one of the most lethal contagious diseases that we are exposed to on a daily basis. Epicurus left us some wise advice in this regard: surround yourself with people who motivate us to do our best. Because people's energy immensely influences our mental state. There are people who drain our energy and destroy our day, while others leave us full of joy and vitality. Therefore, one of the smartest decisions we can make is to ally ourselves with those who bring good vibes into our lives. As we say goodbye to those who have the ability to make us regret being born. 12. Your destiny is not what happens to you. Never forget your reactions. Never forget that your reactions shape your destiny. We should not take our reactions seriously, as they are definitely what determine our success or failure. Epicurus was very categorical in this regard. He taught us that we do not have the possibility of choosing what happens, but rather how to manage it. Misfortune can fall on any of us, but what we do since its arrival will make a difference from that moment on. For some people, a divorce means entering the world of depression and victimization. In contrast, for Epicurus, it is a golden opportunity to begin the path of self-knowledge. Remember, your life is not what happens to you, but what you do with it. 13. Don't hate those who hate you. Just ignore them. You are much greater and completely superior to those who criticize, belittle, and discriminate against you. So, don't waste your precious time hating that person, because they don't even deserve to be present in your thoughts. Encourage yourself not to fear those who harm you, as this noise represents a regrettable attempt to harm you. So, ignore it and become immune to it. Follow us until the end, because this is not just a knowledge video, but also an opportunity for deep self-reflection. Remember, we are here with you on this journey, sharing our experiences and learning together. Completely immerse yourself in this experience with us now. 14. Comply. You must fulfill your obligations, always your duty. Always do your duty. Each of us has a role in society and in the world, and the sun doesn't need praise or incantations to rise every morning, it simply does. In the same way that each part of nature fulfills its function, we must fulfill our obligations. If we are waiting to please or receive praise to do our work, we are failing both our environment and ourselves. If we know our task and are aware that other people depend on it, it is our moral duty to carry it out without waiting for anyone to remind us. 15. Bet on simplicity. Bet on simplicity. Why live frugally when today we have the possibility of surrounding ourselves with all kinds of luxuries? The answer is much simpler and more logical than you think, because wealth is not maintained alone, but requires commitment and a lot of daily energy to maintain this system of luxury and wealth. In contrast, when we opt for a simple lifestyle, we are no longer surrounded by the pressure of having to meet due dates on bills, loans, and credit cards. 16. Control your life. When you allow the comments and attitudes of others to bother you, you are giving away control of your life. Anyone capable of making you angry invests in your control. However, that person can only irritate you when you allow them to disturb you. Epicurus makes us understand that there are many keys within us, and some lead us to happiness, while others lead directly to emotional ruin. And it is precisely this last key that we hand over to those who make us angry. 17. Friendship is above wealth. True wealth is genuine friends, as they will be there to support us if our material fortune ever dissipates. Therefore, dedicate yourself to cultivating true friendships, and you will be making a very profitable long-term investment. 18. Always extracts the benefit from things. He always extracts the benefit from things, no matter what. It's up to you whether you take advantage of it or not. These were the words of Epicurus. As you can see, it's not just about having the option to extract the good from adversity, but doing so is our duty. Whenever there is intelligence in you, there will be the ability to perceive the advantage that can be taken from the situation that has hit you. Imagine that one day you arrive at work and discover that you are going to be fired. Instead of despairing and accusing the universe of being against you, you have the option of exploring other opportunities you've dreamed of while fulfilling your work schedule with people you don't like. Therefore, always try to find the positive side in a situation, as this movement throughout your life will certainly take you further than simply regretting it. 19. Stop worrying about what is out of your control. Stop worrying about what is out of your control. You own your opinion, but not your reputation. You have the desire and zeal for the pursuit, but you cannot control the amount of possessions you have or your success. Therefore, worrying and feeling bitter about those things we cannot control is simply making the decision to waste time. According to Epicurus, we are called to cultivate the values that we have the possibility of changing, but it is also our responsibility to let go of what is beyond our control and let destiny take care of it. In addition to being incredibly useful for everyday life, Stoic principles are teachings that can help us navigate through bad times with interest and resistance, as in their philosophy there is no place for fantasies, only for applying what we have learned and moving forward. I hope you enjoy the video. If you found this video valuable, as you have reached the end, share your ideas with us and write more motivated in the comments. If you are new to the channel, please turn on the notification bell and show your support with a like. See you soon.